Town Band Banter with Doc and Dave. Every week, two longtime friends and colleagues in the world of music, David Price and Donald Doc Smith, get together to discuss the triumphs as well as the twists and turns of lifelong learning for the dedicated members of thousands of civilian community music ensembles of every shape and size. Your comments and suggestions are always welcomed through email as info@townbandbanter.com, Facebook, Town Band Banter, and Instagram, #TownBandBanter. And now for our hosts, Doc and Dave.
Okay, Dave, you ready to go?
I am hopefully ready to go. It's morning. I don't do anything in the morning until like 11 o'clock.
Okay. Well, we can just keep this running until you wake up.
Yeah,
that might be one possibility.
Yeah. If I do this.
Well, I'm not sure.
This side.
I'm not sure what we do with them though. You know, like how do we wake them up when you're finally ready to go? We might as well just get started with this. So we're at season 3, episode 5 only, because we've had trouble finding the perfect person, and finally we did for this.
The search was
so that's
nationwide.
The major,
you know what I mean?
The major topic is audiology and music. Can you imagine that? People being able to hear while they're playing music, and it's a big issue for particularly the older members of the band, and it's the whole age range because your patients aren't just old.
We got a whole range here.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Let me ask, who is this person?
Yeah, why don't we introduce it? Dr. Rachel Smith, as opposed to Dr. Dunn. So it's Dr. Smith, and Mr. Price.
I got a master's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
They call you Master Price?
No, they do.
No,
but the kids in school call me Master P. For a while. All sorts of names. Yeah.
That was not her idea. Right?
No. All
right, so we should let them know that, this is the connection. What's the connection between you two?
So, as I said to kids, as long as you do it respectfully, you can call me what you want. No naughty words, but you can call me what you want, as long as you do it respectfully.
Well, what I was getting at is Dr. Smith was inspired by your words.
Yes.
And wanted to hear more of the beautiful tone coming out of your mouth, so she devoted her life to audiology. Isn't it something like that?
It was all Mr. Price. I cannot, speaking of respect, I'm going to have a real hard time using your first name. Because
No, that happens to all of us. Yeah.
Mr. Price was my elementary school and junior high school band director.
Right, okay.
So, a music teacher. So we actually went back in 5th and 6th grade. I was in the percussion group in the elementary school, and then went into the junior high, and Mr. Price and Mr. Price Forever was my band director.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're done here.
Did you stay with percussion?
Oh, no.
Oh!
While I loved the percussion, as a 5th and 6th grade girl, I found myself being the only female in the group, and at that point, that was not exactly the way I wanted to go. So when I hit junior high, I decided that the flute was a really cool way to,
that's a good place to be with girls.
That's it. So
Even though you look at orchestras and almost all the professionals are men. Where did they come from?
Where did that happen?
It's kind of strange.
I don't know.
But Carrie Carpenter was the drummer in her band and everything. It was a good place for a girl to be. I was in chorus, and I found out that I was one of the few guys in chorus, and I considered that an advantage.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I missed the mark on that. In high school, being in percussion.
Junior high.
Yeah. So no, I played the flute, and then Mr. Price taught me how to play the saxophone for our jazz band group, and and then I went on through high school to continue to play both the flute and the baritone saxophone at that point.
Wow.
And then was the drum major for our high school.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So that brings up something I was thinking on the way here. The spelling the name Smith is not a problem. And I remember a couple times I'd be writing too fast and it'd skip, the M would kind of disappear. So it'd be Doc Sith. From the Star Wars, which is not too far removed, because when you go back into the marching band thing, you think the flaming batons were early Darth Maul. It's almost, that's where it comes from.
I had there's a name for it. I had the staff where you did.
Yes,
that was me, and I conducted the band, and I actually, now I'm thinking back, I was voted most musical of my high school senior class.
Oh, cool.
But now, look at me.
No, this is why we got you. This is why we're here.
It's to pull you out of the doldrums of your,
So
feelings.
what happened after high school? You woke up and all the fun was over.
Originally, I was going to go to UMass Amherst, and
Yeah.
I was I'd been accepted to the Minutemen marching band.
Oh my gosh.
And
Fantastic.
so I was
Yeah,
pretty
right.
excited about that, and then, to be honest, some financial situations happened,
Yeah.
and I just couldn't get to Amherst, and I ended up at CCRI, and
Yeah.
there was no band at CCRI, so.
No. Was George Parks there at that time,
Oh,
right?
gosh.
He probably
I mean,
was.
That would have been in 96.
Yeah.
1996?
Yes, he was there because when I was here, he was there. And he was arguably the greatest drum major ever.
Oh, wow.
And that band won all kinds of awards, and it was just a fantastic band.
I was really looking forward to it. I had my music. I was ready to
Yeah.
roll, but again, things didn't
It
work
just
out.
didn't work out. Well, no, it did work out because here you are.
Because
Yeah,
here I am.
It did, and it's the CCRI option is a great option. You know,
It-
like it really is for
it-
so many kids.
It was the best gift I could have had, just
Yeah.
being able to kind of humbled me down a little bit and said, hey, listen. And I was able to learn with people of all ages for my first year, and then I transferred to URI, so I'm a URI graduate
As an
as well.
audiologist now, thinking instead of being in front of a 300-piece screaming marching band,
Yeah,
you could probably hear us much better now.
Right.
It's
All right, let's see if we can take this to a level where our ears are not bleeding.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, in the discussion just before we started here, what led you into audiology?
So I've always been I mentioned this to you,
Sure.
I've always liked the helping professions where, okay, medical doctor, I don't need blood, I don't need to cause pain, I
Okay.
don't want needles, I don't want
Sure.
all of
Yeah.
those types of things. But the undergraduate degree is in communicative disorders, which houses speech language pathology and audiology. So it's all communication based, both obviously speech, language, hearing, actually balance is in there as well.
Sure.
And so there's a number of things in there. And then when I went for my undergraduate in that, I realized also that I am an instant gratification kind of person. And I really liked the audiology track for a number of reasons. One is I do like the concept of sound means a lot to me in general, in terms of I don't like quiet, I
Yeah.
want music going, I want
Yeah.
to hear the birds chirping, I want all of that. So the sound in general was very important to me, but in terms of that instant gratification and helping people, I can test somebody's hearing, I can diagnose what their difficulties are, I can explain it to them, and then I can almost immediately help them.
Yeah,
Right.
It's not a perfect science. No, there's we know
Yeah.
hearing aids are not
sure, yeah.
perfect, but I can throw hearing aids on someone, and all of a sudden they go, I hear that.
Yeah.
I can hear now.
And then it connects with their phone.
Oh gosh, the technology
is
is ridiculous, and I never knew that as a part of this, I was really going to be working for the Geek Squad in terms of understanding your
Right.
cell phone and your cell phone and your smartwatch and your computer, but it's
Right.
all connected
It's
with
all
the technology.
connected,
Right.
And so there were a number of other experiences in my life. I was a camp counselor, and I had a camper who was deaf, and that really sparked some of my interest as well. And then
Do you sign?
I am a limited signer. I would never put myself into any sort of category of fluent communication.
Right.
But that's a part of this as well. And then actually originally I graduated with my undergraduate, and I worked as a special education teacher for a few years,
Oh,
and had a student who was also hard of hearing.
yeah.
And I said, this thread keeps kind of punching at me a little bit.
Right, yeah.
And so I applied for the graduate doctoral program here in audiology and came back here. So I grew up right down the road. I came here for my undergraduate. I came back here for my graduate. I went out and worked in the world for about 10 years as an audiologist, doing all hearing aids, adults, kids, cochlear implants.
Yeah.
And then I had an opening. They gave me, somebody said, hey, did you see?
Yeah.
And I came
Yeah.
right back, and now I've been here for 10 years.
You're
so.
the chair of the department?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
What a relief, yeah, okay. No, I know.
Please.
Yeah.
no. So I'm a clinical associate professor
Okay,
in, again, the communicative disorders department, and I also am the director of the Audiology Clinic. So I teach undergraduates and help with some clinical practice for our master's SLP, speech and language students. And then we run a full clinic here. So I see patients every day. After y'all leave, I got a full docket.
Oh, wow.
So we see patients here, we do hearing hearing testing, we do hearing aids, what's something called oral rehabilitation in terms of communication strategies and teaching people how to work with their hearing loss and their hearing aids to just optimize
Can
communication.
you sign me up now?
Oh
my gosh.
I
No,
got you.
so speech path is part of it.
So speech language, so it ends up being two different fields.
Right,
Speech
okay.
language
That's why
pathology
I
and
asked.
audiology. No, absolutely, but it's an interdisciplinary connection
Okay,
between the
yeah.
two.
No, it makes sense.
And so there's a lot that kind of crosses over. But obviously my biggest thing is, hey, if you're doing speech therapy on, say, an 80-year-old gentleman who has had a stroke and we need to do speech therapy, okay, well, the first thing in language therapy, the first thing we have to do is, can they hear when you're talking to them?
Right.
Can
Is
they,
there anything?
is there things getting through so that we can know that communication is going through? So we're constantly just keeping each
Yeah.
other working together,
I
yeah.
mean, if Helen Keller walked into or got rolled into the thing and signed in as a patient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember that just knowing her story is just getting to how do we communicate with her at all.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a constant, what's the word I'm thinking, like constant maneuvering and saying, is
Yeah,
this
sure.
working? No? Okay, hold on. Shift gears and let's try to
Right.
figure out what's gonna be the best.
As I was explaining, Doc and I are working in community bands and with romps, they're retired old guys. That
A big band.
It's a big band, and you're dealing with the sound. One of the problems I have a lot of, they used to call it tinnitus, but I guess it's tinnitus.
It is tinnitus.
Yeah,
but
all right,
actually-
oh my gosh,
But
yeah.
both are essentially accepted, it's
Yeah.
sort of tomato, right?
Okay.
But,
But with that, and I've had it for quite some time, particularly this here, I used to have a monitor in a band I worked with that was very loud, but you needed to be able to hear it, to be able to sing also through it. So it kind of beat the crap out of this ear here. But it's likening to being able to look through a screen, a picture, you're looking through the screen, through the window, and you can see pretty good, you move around, you can get it, but there's always that screen there, and having to deal with that. So, consequently, we're in rehearsal, I'm wearing earplugs, and now I have to hear what's going on in the band, and it's not an enjoyable experience, really, that whole concept of how do you deal with people that are musicians that are experiencing ear problems. I don't want to put you on the spot, but
No.
I'm curious, have you experienced anything like that where you're working with it?
So absolutely, I've actually given a talk at one point to our music department and to our music students about that, because start them young,
Yeah.
talking about, because the biggest thing, and you touched on it, the biggest thing is prevention of the hearing loss. So, we all think we're invincible, and we play the monitor nice and loud, and we blast our speakers in our car, and we
Well, now that's just as bad, right?
oh yeah, our
Earbuds?
personal listening systems, right? People are blasting. The rule of thumb is if I can hear what you're listening to,
That's way
This
too
is way too loud.
Yeah, sure.
and so I do get people who come in here simply for that prevention stop, where there are musician plugs specifically for musicians. So when you say you're wearing hearing plugs or hearing protection, is it just those foam rolls that you stick in?
No, I used to use those, but I actually ordered a couple of different pairs, but these are supposedly designed for musicians where you're supposed to be able to hear quite a bit. And I can hear pretty well, but Doc helped me out. It's the subtleties in music that will kind of gets lost.
And so,
Yeah.
so those hearing protection things, there are frequency-specific attenuators. So in some cases, a custom product that has a filter in it. So for a percussionist, we're gonna say, hey, you need the strongest filter.
Sure.
For a flautist, we would say, okay, well, your biggest threat is the trombone behind you.
No, the third flute is sitting in front of the
Yeah,
two.
right,
Yeah,
right,
right.
right. And so the intent is to not do a flat attenuation, which is that what I think about is that screen of
Yeah.
I can hear you, but it's all kind of there's an effect to it, and trying to just make sure that you're getting the quality that you need. So you want to protect,
Sure.
but you touched upon music is broad. A lot of hearing aids and hearing assistive devices are working for communication and speech.
Right.
The whole intent is, hey, can you hear me now? How about now?
Yeah,
How about
right,
now?
right, yeah.
Versus, hey, remember what it sounds like when that violin hits that last little note and it fades away, right? And for some people, they can't even hear that. So the whole group is waiting for that violin to be over, and that one person is going, oh no, because they're ready to, because they're missing that last subtle part.
Right.
And that's the hardest part of
It is.
of that.
It is. How are your ears over the years?
Well, I was blessed with really teeny ear canals that bend, which means that earwax messes me up a couple times a year during the change of seasons.
Yep.
But I get that out, and but that has protected my hearing.
Yeah.
And I've been tested. Dr. Tipineri, who we just lost, was my doctor forever. So now I'll be searching, next time I need something. But he helped me with the earwax thing and other things, and he would regularly test my hearing. And it was kind of remarkable. It was in good shape for someone who was in front of 300-piece marching bands and on stage with monitors and stuff like that. Somehow I was taken care of. The one that I can't do, though, the difficult one, is when my wife is asking me to do things around the house.
I hear you.
Just can't hear, I'm not sure what that is.
That's an old guy thing.
The official diagnosis,
It's what?
selective hearing.
Yes, no, I've heard that.
That's it, I have heard this before.
Pardon, what was that?
I'm sorry.
Can you write that out?
Right, it's an official diagnosis. There's a code for it even. You can
Yes,
put
right.
that on
Yeah,
there.
we call it old guy hearing
Old guy
problem.
hearing.
I think it was caused by this. There's like a gland in here that gets shut off when you
Oh, no.
No?
So, I typically, I joke with my patients as well, and one of my jokes is that I'm saving marriages one hearing aid at a time.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But
yeah.
I've also had to say I'm destroying marriages one hearing aid at a time because they finally can hear the other one and they're
Right.
This is what
I heard that.
Exactly.
So to
double-edged
multiply
sword.
his problem by, as a director in front of a community band with a 12-year-old sitting next to an 80-year-old, next to a 40-year-old, and all of those issues simultaneously. And trying to get everyone to, like we talk about, just tuning, tuning. And a lot of tuning has to do with overtones. So we're talking upper frequencies, and people just, they're not getting those. So it's
I hadn't
difficult.
thought of that. You're right.
Yeah.
You get, of course, you get the whole overtone series. You get the bottom end, which pulls people in, but the upper end you're not getting because you've lost it.
And that fine tuning is almost impossible, and sometimes I just kind of let it go. Much to the chagrin of one of my flute players is like the first call Steinway tuner on the planet. Like she flies all over the country. It's Steinway to regulate and tune Steinway piano. And she said, can we tune again? It's not gonna matter. It isn't gonna, because people really can't hear it. We could get one. You can even tell by doing that one note. Why are they always practicing that same note? Like, is it a hard note? You get that close, but not on. And then everything else it changes. So you need to be on it all the time. It's an awareness thing more than anything, which is probably a lot of, we're back to selective. It's awareness of the hearing, what you're listening for at that time. If you're aware that, I might be out of tune, you're less likely to be out of tune.
Right, and when you're talking about the overtones and all of that, so hearing loss, as we age, no matter what, our hearing tends to decline. The physical system all of our physical systems start to decline, right?
Sure.
Yeah. But the higher frequencies, the higher pitched tones, sounds, tend to start to decline first.
Right.
And so that's as we age. Then we say, okay, and as a kid you worked in a factory, and you were a percussionist, and you, used to go to concerts the big, loud concerts all the time. All of that noise exposure affects the higher frequencies.
Right.
So then we start to have a more significant compounding decline in those higher pitches. And so to kind of give an idea, now these numbers are not exact, and I will, if in the comments you can tell me how wrong I was.
No.
But on a piano, where we have 88 keys, right? Middle C is about 260, somebody's going to come up with the number.
That's right.
260 hertz. All right, well, that's a low frequency. When I do a hearing test, the lowest frequency I test is 250. So that's a low frequency.
Wow.
So there's tones all the way down,
Yeah.
and up to, I think it goes to maybe about 20-something.
Yes,
down at the
20 is the
bottom.
minimal that you hear, a low bass.
Yep, and then at the highest key, it's at about 4,000 something
Yeah,
hertz.
right,
All right,
exactly.
well, in a hearing test, I test up to 8,000 hertz.
Right.
So, because we're actually looking at the speech range, point is that those 4,000s, we start to see that hearing loss hit that 2,000, 4,000,
Yeah,
8,000
right.
hertz.
And when we buy a stereo, we're going to 20,000.
Right, oh, yeah.
Who's
Oh, yeah.
hearing that? Our
Well-
dog, maybe.
Well, so
Yeah,
human
right.
hearing is between about 20 hertz and
20
20,000.
hertz and 20,000, in some-
Right. And so it's, right, that tuning and saying, okay, did I hear that last violin note, right? You're missing, it's like the person's bow is going across the string and nothing's coming out. You
Right.
can't
Yeah,
even
right, yeah,
hear it,
right,
but, right? And so the loss of some of those sounds really, you don't even realize that they're lost.
Right.
And so an example, and you can stop me if I'm talking too much here,
No,
but
you're doing fine.
yeah.
It's kind of our business.
There you go. That's good. Oh, good.
We'll cut it all out.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah,
so,
that's it. Part 2, part 3, part now. I run a group, it's called an oral rehabilitation group, so it's for people with hearing loss who either have hearing aids or considering hearing aids, not quite sure what to do.
Yeah.
I just want some more information about hearing loss, hearing aids, communication strategies. And we were sitting in the room and there was a little, I don't know, not a thermostat, something on the wall, and every 4 minutes it would just go beep.
Right.
And very quickly, very not even distracting, I just kept going. And we were talking about you don't know what you're not hearing, you don't know what you're missing. And I said, for example, if this just keeps beeping every whatever,
Yeah.
every 4 minutes, and 2 people looked at each other, they're like, that's beeping. I didn't hear it.
Well,
I didn't
did
hear
we
that.
really hear that?
I didn't hear
No.
it because they didn't even know it was happening. Right? So
Right,
from
yeah.
the musician standpoint, they're trying to get something that's not audible.
Well, if it's not possible, I'm not going to demand it.
Yeah,
I'm
part of the,
trying to find that balance.
That was
Right.
Everything
you
in
hit.
life is a
Yeah.
balance.
Right.
that's the word, is balance, and especially in a community group. You want them to enjoy the process,
Right.
all right? You want them to be able to get some quality music as best you can out of it, but you don't want to beat it into them because then they won't come back, you know what I mean?
Right.
They're doing it for the love of music, really. And so there is that, you do a good job with that, Doc, is that gentle balance in trying to, okay, well, that's good enough, guys. Can we kind of do this? But that's good enough. Let's go to the next piece.
Right,
And,
right.
You know,
We're blessed with the average age of our audience also being quite old. So they're not hearing it either.
No.
Yeah! Got it.
They're
No,
mostly dead.
maximize what everyone is going to hear. I learned that working in a studio at Penn State, what the studio speakers sounded like were not at all what it was going to sound like on my equipment at home.
Yeah.
Like professional speakers. So you needed to kind of like mess it up a little bit so that create noise, right? Loudness. So that it would mask some of that and sound better on regular speakers.
Yeah.
It was unusual. It caught me completely off guard.
I think one of the things you're touching on too with the community band, right? This is a group of people who are searching, have a passion or something, a hobby or something that they have done all their lives. They've worked towards, they've practiced, they've done all of the things. And then this is also a social event, and you're getting together and you're chatting. And while I know that there are performers who play just for themselves, they just want to hear themselves, and that's their joy.
Piano, guitar.
Yeah, they play,
Yeah.
but this is, the intent is I'm going to
Community.
play this for the community, and it's that whole connection. And so one of the other things that I see a lot in my practice is people are, I think it breaks my heart the most, is the people who come in and say to me, I try to talk to them, what do you like to do? What makes you happy? Are you with family? Are you with friends? What are your hobbies? What is it in your life that gives you life?
Yeah.
Right? Playing my music, okay? And they say, but I don't go to the band anymore because I can't hear them, it's embarrassing, it's not fun for me. And then they start to socially isolate and pull in, or that's the band side. It's, oh, we used to always go to the bowling alley coffee shop and have whatever.
A
But
relaxed meal.
right,
Oh.
right. I can't hear, it's no fun anymore. They all go, I just stay home. And that's where I say,
Yeah, that's I can see that passion in you. Yeah, that's
like, we
because you could fix that with
I
the
can
right
fix that.
tool. Yeah.
And is it perfect? No, and we know this. Hearing aids
Sure.
are not
Yeah.
if I,
Well,
makes
you
me
know
so
what?
frustrated.
What I want to try to get to is for the folks listening. They say, "I want to do this. I want to help," but it's not. I don't think all audiologists are created equal. Like you have this passion for music, but I don't know that everyone does. They're just like, here, I'll fix this frequency and that frequency, but there's so many more subtleties to it on the music end.
Yeah, and so every audiologist, the bane of every audiologist's existence, there are two. One,
Only two.
Only
okay,
two.
Yeah.
Only two. Promise. One is musicians,
Right. Yeah.
and the other are engineers. Oh, Lord,
Oh.
don't give me an engineer. Because they...
You like a train engineer? No, okay.
I accepted at West Point in engineering and music school, so I'm like double bane here.
It's any engineer, whether it have to be with physical millimeters of how big the hearing aid is, all the way to the engineers of the technology and the algorithms and the
Right.
frequency transposition and all sorts of crazy stuff. But one of the things that's difficult is that's kind of a specialty, to be an audiologist for musicians.
Yeah.
You have to really care and know, and understanding that hearing aids are really geared towards communication, talking. I need you to be able to hear that I sit when I say it's time for dinner.
Yeah.
That's the main goal. But we're so much more than that. And so hearing aids now, and have for a while, they're working with AI to try to actually look at other types of environmental sounds, including music. And so it takes a little bit more energy on our part to get some knowledge about that, see
Right.
what that means, what's the difference between amplifying music and amplifying speech,
Mhm.
right? And what about when you have music that has speech in it, singing,
Yeah.
and actually addressing some of that.
And I shared with you early in our first conversation how hard it's been for us to find. I'm so glad we found you, first of all. But it was really hard, and I was amazed by that. I'm thinking that here is a field that is so locked into audiology, characteristics of hearing, and yet I couldn't find someone that could help us that was based in audiology, had the science, and say, okay, for musicians, here's what we do, or a performing musician. Almost all our other doctors were active performing musicians, so they could speak from that seat as well.
Yeah.
But fortunately, you have enough of a background that works out quite well. You get it. But we haven't been able to find anyone. So what you're saying is exactly right. It's somewhere in the field we need to find or build some of those people with that expertise. Being in music is so incredibly important to people. I mean, that's something we found out by doing 3 seasons of this. But early on, before I started it, one year, I've told this story before, but it has to fit here. One year we lost 3 members. 3 members passed away in the band. And 2 out of 3 of them, when I went to the wake, I didn't really know the families, just to say hi to concerts, something like that. But it was in lieu of flowers. Make a donation to the Jamestown band, and going through the line saying, this is all he talked about. This is what kept him alive the last 10 years. This was the most important thing in his life.
Yeah.
How important that is. And like you said, if you take that away, then they start withdrawing, and it's not long after that. If you have no reason to live, then you're not going to live much longer.
Right.
So it is that important. It's not just like, oh, stop playing with your record player over there. It's annoying me. It's really important to people. So we need to find a way to do that. So that's why I suggested let's maybe put an article or something like that together.
Also, we've talked about it many times, but the neurological effect of playing music, being part of it, keeping your brain active. And I'm sure the better you hear in the process, the more active it's going to be. And keeping you, hate to use the word keeping you young, but keeping you mentally active is a big part of it.
That's, I think, the biggest thing that we, as a whole human race, have started to realize. The brain is the driver here, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
so, okay, I can get a new knee, and I can say, oh, never mind, no skiing for me anymore. But, okay, find something else. And keeping the brain active. And music is right.
Just on
Come
the top
on,
of that list.
we got to be able to do math and science,
Right,
really,
right.
and understand all sorts of things just to perform, just to play a saxophone, right? You've got to do a lot, and working with others and teamwork and all of that. And I'm not going to give you an exact study. Sorry, I'm a professor, but I don't remember who wrote what. But there are a lot of studies.
My phone number.
That's it, right? There are a lot of studies, and they're doing a lot of work with the connection between untreated hearing loss, so no hearing aids, no, you
Right.
just have a hearing loss, and cognitive decline.
Okay.
So the brain needs exercise, and the way I kind of liken it to my patients, this is really oversimplifying it, but if I do sit-ups every morning, when it comes time to lift and move this table, those muscles are ready to do that work.
Right, sure.
All right, well, your brain needs the same kind of exercise, and that's why your doctor's telling you to do the Sudoku, do the crossword puzzle,
Right.
I don't know, watch Jeopardy, do all of those types of things that keep your brain working. Well, the part of your brain that processes sound needs exercise.
Right, right.
And if you have a hearing loss, you're not doing sit-ups in that area, right? You're not
Right.
giving it the exercise it needs. And so then that part of the brain says, why am I here? What am I doing? I'm gonna take a nap.
Yeah.
And so, right, and then it's it's double fold now for a musician where they're not getting access to the thing that they love, and then it starts to wane. That process of the brain starts to.
Right.
To
And it's
do
all
what?
interconnected, so
It's all-
other parts of it crash. You know, one of our next things is the music therapy down the hall.
Oh yeah, are you doing that today?
No,
Okay,
not
fun.
today, but sometime soon, we have to get that scheduled, but we talked about that, one of the women who kind of invented it, we interviewed down in Wartburg Institute in New York. And she's an amazing woman. She talked about that, how interconnected, when we did the neurologist from Brown, I asked her, she's an expert in epilepsy, female epilepsy, older. And they said, well, sometimes you have to take out a piece of the brain. What happens to performing musicians when you do that? And she said, not much, because the rest of the brain just takes over.
And fills in.
Because
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
holistic.
Right.
That doesn't happen with other parts of the brain,
Yeah.
other activities. So that's how powerful music is, and I get it. Let's follow up. Let's not, to be continued
On that,
here
yeah.
between you and I, because it's something I feel very strongly about as well.
Music therapy was actually one of the potential pathways that I had gone down at one point,
Yeah,
but
uh-huh.
things again shifted. So.
There's one, I'll throw it out, maybe you can cut it out later if it doesn't work, but.
I have a lot of those comments
Yeah, right?
throughout
Yeah,
3
right, yeah.
seasons.
It's on the
No,
blooper
but
reel.
as you get older, and now that I'm a senior citizen, as you get older, wife and I are both retired. There's just she and I in the house. The house gets extremely quiet. It gets, and almost to the point I'll say, my God, I haven't heard anything for an hour.
Yep.
She's sitting doing needlework, and I'm reading, and all of a sudden I go, oh my gosh, there's been no sound in this house at all. So there's been no stimulation.
Yeah, it's disorienting.
And yeah, so, and then I get feeling tired because then you think, oh geez, maybe it's just, I'm just getting old, I need a nap. No, it's the fact that my brain is shutting down because it's so darn quiet
There's
all the time.
nothing to-
That's one of my complaints with my wife. I'll say, oh my gosh, it's so darn quiet around here. And I should just put some music on, but I don't.
Oh,
I don't.
see, my wife has the TV on. I say, oh, what's that about? She goes, I don't know, I'm not listening. She
We're
just has it on for
like
noise.
that. Yeah, it's funny, I just.
Kind of like when I talk to her. It's
Yeah.
just noise, it's just.
Well, that's understandable.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is that your world, as you get older, your world does kind of close in a little bit.
It-
And you have to really do things and force yourself to keep things active, keep things going,
You don't realize, and if we did, it won't translate on a cast here, but and this is where I'm seated when I fit people with hearing aids for the first time. And they've come in and their world is very quiet. And then
Yeah.
I put the hearing aids on them and I say, okay, how about now? And they go, I hear that rattle. What is that rattle? I hear a rattle. What is,
Yeah,
and
right.
my ventilation
Yeah,
has this little tick to it.
yeah, yeah.
My brain hears that. I hear that. Do I pay attention to it? No.
No, yeah.
But I know I'm in, like I could close my eyes and be placed in this room, and I know I'm in this room because of that sound.
Right.
And you know you're in your living room because of the radiator, the particular sound of the radiator, or your
Right,
kitchen
right.
because the refrigerator makes a noise, and people say to me, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. It's good for you to hear that. That's how you know when your refrigerator's broken. That's how you know. That's how you know where you are. And so, to be in that silence, it's kind of fluffy. And I'm sure that there are studies about this too. But just knowing your space because you hear that rattle, the dog's nails on the tile,
Yeah.
the dog barking down the road. Yeah, no, you don't want to hear it, but
Right, right.
hey, it just lets you know you're in your space.
It's part of it, yeah.
And
So we have some questions that we ask at the end, and just
All right.
transition into it, because I wasn't sure where to go with you, because you never were in a community music ensemble, you were in school ensembles, and then it kind of ended. But so one of the ones, what was your most memorable experience with the community music ensemble? And I'm thinking, was there a patient along the way? Obviously, without using a name, but a patient along the way that you were able to help.
In music.
Yeah.
I do actually see a lot of community, Rhode Island's small.
Yeah.
So I do see a lot of people that come through that are musicians.
Uh-huh.
And the biggest thing that I get, and I'll be honest, the biggest part is the social part. The
Yeah.
fact that they're able to play. I do have some people who play out, and a lot of our conversation is about when do I wear my hearing aids? Do I wear them when I'm out playing at
Right.
what's the courthouse up the road? At the courthouse up the
Sure,
road,
yeah,
or
uh-huh.
do I wear them? Do I not? A specific patient is going to be really tough to kind of come up with, but.
Oh, yeah. No,
But when I have a musician come in, I do shift gears, and I'm going to say, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about getting you, hearing aids now can have programs specific for music listening. AI is jumping through hoops right now.
yeah.
And so just being able to provide that as an option where people say yes, because the AI is actually able to look at, is that acoustic music, is that
Right.
rock and roll, is that whatever. And so I apologize, I'm not giving you a specific
No, that's
patient, but I
fine.
do have
Yeah.
people that come in and just being able to employ some of that technology, and people say, this was great. Or a lot of times I have actually older women who sing in the choir. The biggest problem with the choir is the darn organ. Because hearing aids and feedback, if you hear people say that their hearing aids whistle, an organ, like a really high,
Yeah.
can actually make a hearing aid whistle just by being able to switch them into a program that allows that not to happen, where they're saying, I'm so embarrassed because Mr. Whoever next to me is hearing this.
Yeah.
And so I get to see a lot of that, and that's probably my best experience, is just getting people to be able to actually be a part of it more. And the hearing protection part, I'm big on the hearing protection part.
Yeah.
The last question was, what's the future? Which you asked, I think you just answered it, but it's
Yeah,
bright. Which it sounds like
Yeah,
it's bright.
You're right, yeah.
Another challenge that I'm always dealing with is realistic expectations. And in terms of hearing aids and what they can do and what they can't do, some people come in and they just say, I just want to hear my grandkid while we're having dinner. And I
Right.
say, perfect.
Yeah.
We can make this happen. And then some people say, I want these hearing aids to wash my car, feed my dog, buy me groceries. Wait a minute,
Yeah,
we got to
right.
talk about what are the expectations here. And so the technology is amazing, where people can say to me, oh, these hearing aids don't do what I want them to do. I had to hear the rattling of this. I don't want that. And I say, okay, well, fine. Just give them back. I'll take them.
Yeah.
And they go, no, I mean, I need them. I need them to be able to hear. And I say, right. So they're doing what you're looking
You
for.
can't be that selective.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the technology is always advancing, trying to help. The biggest complaint is hearing and background noise. We get a lot. There's a reason why there's a specific music program now added to hearing aids, because musicians need something different.
That's cool. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
all these new hearing aid products. And there's,
And with the connections to cell phones and things like that, it allows you to have, so I'm able to make programming changes on the computer here based on your complaint. It's too sharp, it's too tinny, it's too bassy, it's reverberant, whatever, reverb. I can make those changes, but now with the technology on the smartphone, you're pairing your hearing aids to the smartphone, and you're actually able to say, hey, I'm in my acoustic group. I really want to up these high frequencies. I want to be able to hear this better.
Yeah.
And you can, it's like a slider
Wow.
on your equalizer,
Yeah, right.
and you can say, okay, now there's limits. You can't blast yourself out, but you can actually play with some of that yourself so that you can match, and you can say, I really like this. So when I'm in this chamber group or whatever it
save
is,
those settings.
I can save that and say, so
Wow.
now on, bink, and then
This
you're
is
in
all
it.
really new, right? This is all in the last 5 years.
Yeah, the technology, we are jumping and leaping and
I was
bounding.
gonna say, it's taking off.
Because
Well,
Arthur,
amazing.
I have a friend who turned 106 on May 10th. And he got one of the first ones. He's a musician, but he wasn't performing at that time. But he got one of the first ones that connected with his phone. And he didn't have any young people around to help him adjust all of that. And there was a frustrating couple of weeks that he couldn't hear anything because it was all just messed.
It wasn't
connected
right.
to the phone. He couldn't talk on the phone. He couldn't talk to people. It was like all out of whack. And it sounds like it's gotten much better. Like most
It's
technology
good, that
does.
sound, yeah, it depends. There are over-the-counter products that require you to do all of the
Homemade,
work
yeah.
versus coming in, having a hearing test, have the audiologist actually, or the hearing healthcare professional actually help you
Right.
with that. And so if I can stand on a soapbox for half a minute,
Yeah.
you get your eyes tested how often?
Oh, I'm not good.
Oh.
Now, once you
Once every 5
Hey,
years.
hey, Mr. Price, thanks for really backing me up on that one. All
Sorry
right.
about that.
I get my eyes tested once a year.
No, right.
Okay.
That's
And
because
so-
the insurance. That's what
Because,
the
well, the
covers.
insurance
Yeah.
covers, but right, you get your eyes tested once a year, and then they come up with a prescription, and of course I'm wearing them on my head as a fashion statement instead of on my eyes.
Yeah.
But this is a corrective lens. I have poor vision. I am now correcting that vision. Now I have 20/20 vision, right? It's a
Soft.
corrective. Hearing aids are different. Hearing aids are still working with a damaged system, meaning your ear is still broken, right? There's something wrong with that. So hearing aids are able to amplify the sound that you're missing, give you access to that, but there's certain flaws still to that. So that's that realistic expectation. But the thing is this, is that you get your eyes tested every year,
Yeah.
get your ears tested every year,
How about
because
that?
that is going to, and even primary care physicians sometimes aren't really seeing that, hey, there are these things, you're right, you get your blood work, you get your eyes tested,
Right,
you,
right.
whatever you, and getting your hearing tested every year, that gives you an idea of, okay, because what is my status, what is my baseline, kind of going back to that beep in the room where people didn't even hear it. You don't know what you're not hearing. People say to me,
That's for sure.
I hear fine, I hear everything you're saying. I say, yes, because I'm talking like this to you.
Yeah.
Your family is pushing their voices. You hear what you hear,
Yeah.
but you don't know what you're not hearing. And especially for musicians who think, all right, I hear everything. The trombone is really loud and it's really low pitched. And it can be high pitched too, but you know what I mean? Yes, you can hear that, but there are definitely things that you're
Gaps.
missing, and especially when it comes to music and the breadth of the quality of the
Well,
sound.
thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
And like I said,
This
to
has
be
been great.
continued, you know, like I'll sign up, I'll go back to the desk and sign up as a patient because I need that now. I lost my regular, it was probably not every year, but it was every 2 years, easily. Because I would go in for something unrelated and then he'd send me upstairs to do the hearing
To
test
do the
too.
test.
Yeah, and it was maintaining, he was blown away by the whole thing too, with my career. But thank you very much for doing this, I'm so glad we connected.
Yes,
You know,
yes, thank
we
you for
Smiths
reaching
have
out.
to stay together.
Oh.
It's
Oh,
not an
God.
easy
Here we
thing
go
to
with
do.
this.
Listen, I married into that.
Right.
I made a choice.
Right.
It was
Grenier.
Yes.
Yep,
All right,
grenier.
well, thank you. We always end the same way with the same thing. You're gonna love this,
Yeah.
right? Just keep on playing.